Hi guys, my name is Hassan, and this is my overcoming stuttering story. And I just want to start by saying thank you to the WSSA family, to Danny, to Coach Lee, of course, and to all the coaches out there, Patricia, John, just everyone involved in the organization and all their contribution to this great work. My story starts off from childhood. Around the age of 6 or 5, I think, I remember a friend of mine, a kid in the neighborhood, that had a severe stutter. So severe that he didn't necessarily play with the other kids. But from time to time, I would interact with him, and I would see that, he didn't speak comfortably, and I didn't necessarily associate myself with it because I didn't have that much of a struggle. And but later on, so this was around the age of 6, right? So later on, around the age of 8, right, I remember having difficulties as well. Difficulties, difficulties expressing myself, difficulties speaking under pressure to authority and things like that. And I think the first instance was an auntie of mine visited us, and I guess she knew she saw me grow up, and but she necessarily didn't think or know or think that I had any issues speaking. But when she did see me around the age of 8, and she was asking me how am I doing and all that kind of stuff, she was asking me. I remember her asking me how old I was, and I guess I was stammering. I was stammering saying it, right? I had difficulty saying it, and she asked my mom and all the people around if I stuttered or something like that. And that was the first time I remember someone talking about me having speech difficulties or something like that. And another instance as well was me meeting a friend outside one day, and being excited to catch up and to talk to that friend. And I remember the friend asking me if I stuttered, right? So, and those two examples were around the age of 7 to 8, right? So that's when I remember me, having difficulties expressing myself under pressure. I used to repeat words a lot. I didn't have huge blocks, but I just used to repeat words a lot. And people used to tell me to slow down. So at that age, my speech was flawed, but it wasn't preventing me from speaking. I didn't have the fear of speaking. I just knew that my speech was flawed, and I had some insecurities about it. So now, I was originally raised in the Ivory Coast, right, which is a French-speaking country located in West Africa. And in around the age of 11, 12, I immigrated to the U.S., right, around the age of 11, 12. So me having to learn English kind of added more pressure to my speech, right? I had to, and I also remember having a heavy accent, right, from the French language. So it was very difficult for people to understand me. So that also gave me insecurities. So I was very insecure and very conscious of my speech and how I sounded. So not only I had insecurities of repetitions and things like that when I was, back in my original country, but when I now migrated to the U.S. and started speaking English, now I had a extra set of insecurities now about my accent and understanding the language and things like that. And throughout high school and pretty much throughout middle school and high school, I would say that I was a covert stutterer, I would say, because I had a bunch of insecurities within myself about speaking in general. And to go back to the childhood, I would say the reason, I would say the cause of my stuttering, I would say, was due to the household and the environment in which I was raised. I had a lot of dominant figures, meaning that the individuals around me were very dominant. They were not the most affectionate, I would say. So because of that, I had to shrink a lot of my, I had to kind of submit to a lot of their demands and things like that. So I would say a lot of that, between the ages of 5 to 8, kind of, made me have to hold and shrink a lot of my personality. So maybe that's what caused the insecurities, and then the repetition of words, and the lack of confidence and stuttering, and then you add to coming to the U.S. and having to learn English and the culture shock and having to try to fit in middle school, high school, and all of that led to a lot of insecurities. So now, middle school, high school, I'm a covert stutterer. I'm very insecure about my identity overall, and I kind of know that I will have difficulties like expressing myself in public, because doing presentations in high school and things like that, I will have a lot of difficulties. So I literally have had panic attacks just because I was called upon to answer a question, or I knew my turn was coming to read out loud and things like that. I mean, I had a lot of anxiety around public speaking in middle school and in high school. A lot more in high school, and going into college, that's when the reality kind of settled to the fact that I have a problem as far as like being able to express myself, especially in professional settings, right? So I didn't really, again, in childhood I didn't have any speech therapy. In college, that's when I reached out for help. I was working with one of my professors. She pretty much was teaching me a lot of relaxation techniques, but the fear of speaking and the insecurities was still there. I remember I had a job at the time in my junior year of college or whatever, and the job involved, facing customers. It was customer service type of job, and man, I would come home with my jaws just hurting from having to clench and force words and block and things like that. I was at a very low point, as far as like I guess mental health or just happiness overall, because here I am in college, at the prime in my prime years or whatever, and I'm struggling with like just expressing myself, and that led to having difficulties dating as well. I mean, I was still able to find my way around making friends, dating, because I was also very good at sports, so I would make a lot of friends through sports and things like that. But as far as like in professional settings, expressing myself, it was very difficult. Fast forwarding to professional environments, once I graduated college, I actually chose my major in college was IT, right, computers, and I chose that because I felt like that would kind of protect me from having to speak. And But it really doesn't, because you still have to do presentations and things like that. I mean, you still have to do interviews, job interviews, and that's how you actually land the job. So you still have to be able to speak. So right before graduation, like my senior year of college, I realized that I cannot avoid speaking. So I decided, man, I'm just gonna go to the military. So I tried to go to the military, and that was one of the most humbling experience that I've had with speech overall, because I went to boot camp, and I remember they were calling, doing the roll call, and they called my name, and I couldn't even say here, present. From there on, the flashlight or the spotlight was kind of on me, like, what's going on with this guy. So I totally lost my, any ounce of confidence that I had mentally, and it was just a horrible experience. I ended up not following through with that career, and I ended up back in the IT world, right, in the corporate world, and I had jobs after jobs after jobs, and a lot of the jobs were customer facing or customer service or phone jobs, and I've had a lot of challenges. I remember one phone job where I had success, and it was due to the fact that I believed in my ability to say certain words, and the major difficulty that I had regarding phone jobs was picking up the job, introducing the company or my department or myself. And I had a job where the wording clicked in my head and made me gave me a sense of belief that I could say it. And I had success in that job because my issue wasn't necessarily speaking, as I'm speaking fluently right now. I've had a lot of fluent moments or discussions or just interactions, period, throughout my whole entire life. It's just whenever there's something that adds pressure or intimidation, or having to speak fast, or having to say a certain set of words. And that was the issue in the military. You have to speak in a certain manner with certain set of words, and you can't get around it, and things like that. A lot of constraint adds pressure, anxiety, and that's what causes the stuttering. And maybe that's what caused the stuttering in the beginning, in the childhood, because of the parenting and the militant type of parenting, things like that. So fast forward to a year prior to joining WSSA, I never had any sort of therapy, right? And going back to college, the professor that was helping me with the anxiety relaxation, she also suggested that I go and get some pebbles, some rocks, wash them, small rocks, and put them under my tongue. Put them under my tongue, and I don't know what I was supposed to do afterwards. Maybe speak with it, or just have them there so that they can kind of massage, the bottom of my tongue. That would relax my tongue and have me speak fluently. And I even remember also in my childhood, around the age of 7, 8, when I was having, I was repeating words or speaking too fast and blocking and things like that. People would tell me, oh, that's because that area of the tongue, when you lift your tongue, there's like this tentacle that kind of, stretches. They were telling me that needs to be cut because the tongue is it's too stiff and that needs to be cut, things like that. So anyway, so that teacher had me put pebbles in my, I mean that professor had me put pebbles in my mouth, and like that didn't work. Nothing worked in college. I had good moments, good presentations here and there, but as far as like the fear of speaking was still there. Move on to the military thing, it was a horrible experience. Went into the corporate world, had some success here and there, but the fear was still there. So I just did a lot of personal development in the department of anxiety, in the department of pretty much like confidence, and that helped me throughout life. And a year before joining WSSA, it's interesting because even though I was able to manage throughout, life with the fear there and with this lack of confidence and this issue, I was working a night shift, right? A few months before joining WSSA, and honestly, one of the reasons why I was working a night shift was to avoid, the constant stresses of interaction, right? So the night shift is quieter, is more peaceful. You don't have to deal with a lot of people. So even though I was doing fine as far as like, career wise, I was still working a shift that was due to all those insecurities, right? So at some point, the night shift was taking a toll on my physical health. So I wanted to switch up. I wanted to switch jobs. So I started doing interviews now, and I had an interview that was so bad. It was so bad. My wife was in the other room, and she heard me struggle, and actually had to. I told the interviewer that I didn't feel well and I wanted to reschedule, and she heard everything. She heard the interaction, she heard the blocking, she heard the struggle, and she heard me rescheduling, and it was very embarrassing because she's never seen me in this state, right? Because the fact that I'm even married was that I was able to interact with her, and so again, throughout life I've been able to manage, but those added moments of pressure, or I mean those added factors of pressure, and restraint and constraint would cause anxiety in certain areas and in certain moments, and that could reveal the issue, the underlying issue, right? So she saw that, and it was very embarrassing. It was a very low moment, but we actually used it as a catalyst to attack the issue. And she's the one that actually found Coach Lee. She found his book on Amazon, ordered the book, and then I also looked for him on the internet, and I saw that he had a YouTube channel. Subscribed to the channel, started watching, people do sessions, and things like that, and I decided to download the app, and from the app I joined the group, and the rest is history. What I learned from Coach Lee and his program was that during those moments of anxiety and pressure and panic and things like that, you can use certain tools to not only alleviate the anxiety but also create fluency, right? So the rest is history. The 1, 2, 3 punch is the method that I've been using, and has made tremendous changes in my life. Though that technique has given me confidence, confidence and security. So that technique has replaced the insecurity with security. And now, for those that don't know what the 1, 2, 3 punch is pretty much, doing mind training, which is pretty much affirmations and just feeding your subconscious, right, positive reinforcement regarding fluency. And then reading out loud. Reading out loud was actually what made me a fluent speaker early on in my childhood, because reading out loud was required, right, in elementary. And I never had any issues reading out loud. No anxiety, no issues. It was actually the opposite. I was excited to read out loud. I wanted to read out loud. I enjoyed it. So seeing that this program, is suggesting that, oh man, I implemented that, in my daily routines. So that's the 1-2 punch, and then the third punch is to pretty much, the third aspect of the 1-2-3 punch is now to practice the crutches, and what I did was pretty much try to join every group session practice as possible, every single one of them every day, and practice those crutches, and put myself in at game speed, so to say, at mentally in a space where I'm being pressured, and I'm having to speak with those tools, right? So from there, I began to do job interviews, and I've gotten better and better and better, and it has led to me landing a very, very great job with a great schedule, and the rest is history. In the future, I wouldn't mind being a speech coach, so to say, or somebody that just can provide, insights or information to help others do the same, to help others overcome the fear of speaking. Because I think it's just a fear. It's a fear of expressing yourself. It's a fear of not being perfect. And no one is perfect. Everyone has imperfections when it comes to self-expression. But if you don't have fears, or if you're not holding back, and you're not shrinking yourself, you get through those insecurities and those flaws, and you appear fluent, right? So, but it's when you hold back that you're not fluent. So WSSA gave you the tools to create the confidence and the security that can overcome all those insecurities, and give me the assurance that I can be fluent, and I am fluent. So thank you, Danny. Thank you, Coach Lee. Thank you, Ambassador Thomas, everyone on the staff, all the coaches, Patricia, Steve, John, everybody. Thank you guys for everything. Dean, that's the name I was trying to remember. Dean as well. Thank you, Dean. Thank you all the staff for all your support, and may you guys continue to progress and become very, very big, and make a lot of impact in this world, and eradicate stuttering from the planet.